So it came to my attention, right? That's the reason why I wanted to make this video. That everybody position themselves very strategically, right? On social media especially. Like, this is where you see this type of stuff the absolute most. Where everybody position themselves as if their life is absolutely perfect. Now, I'm not saying anything wrong with that. You know, social media is a place where you're supposed to post your highlights, right, so to speak. Like, nobody want to post themselves down and out or talk about their struggles for the most part. I mean, which I totally get. Like, I'm not knocking nobody. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. But I do have this rule, right, where I stay away from perfect people. And I think that it's something that everybody should adopt. And here's why I say that. Like, one of the things that I tell people, especially women that I deal with, right? If I'm dealing with a woman, like, one of the first things I'll say is, I'm the worst at first impressions. And the reason why I say I'm the worst at first impressions, it's not because I don't put my best foot forward, or you might think low of me. It's because I'm not putting on any front. I'm not putting on any mask. I'm going to just be myself, right? Like, when I meet you, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to be over the top. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I'm not going to be impressive. I'm not saying that I'm not going to, you know, make a good impression. But what I am saying is, the thing that most people do that I realized is they become somebody that they're not completely, right? Like, if you get to know them a month, 2 months, 3 months in, right, you'll start to realize all of the things that you thought about them from the first day you met them up until the point when you're consistently dealing with them. Like, you start to realize that they're not that person at all. Like, all their insecurities come out, you know, like, I mean, obviously that's with anybody. You start to get to know them more, but, you know, in the beginning you might have thought that this person, you know, had certain things together that they didn't have together. And, you know, I don't lead with my flaws. I'm not telling you to, you know, tell people the stuff that's wrong with you on the very first encounter. But what I am saying is, I don't trust people who attempt to be perfect, or people who pose like they're perfect. I mean, I can look at your social media account, see your pictures are cool, whatever, I like them, talk to you, whatever. But if I'm dealing with you, you know, for, you know, a good amount of time, and you don't seem to be flawed in any way, like, that means a few things, right? One, because nobody's perfect, that means that you're putting on a show. That means you have a mask on. Or it means that you're not doing anything that is outside of your comfort zone, which is also a huge red flag. You know, if you're not making any mistakes at all whatsoever, then that's a red flag for me. And the reason why I feel like not making the mistakes for a person is a red flag is because that means that that person is in stagnation or in a comfort zone. And I don't want to be a part of that. I want to be around people who are progressive. I want to be around people who are trying to grow. I want to be around people who do things or ask questions about things that they don't know. I want to be around people who are experts in something, but humble in something else, right? Where you can see the duality in a person, where, you know, you may be super intelligent when it comes to this, but when it comes to that, like, you like a fish out of water, right? People who pose as if they just got it all together, like, I don't trust that, you know. And I think the reason why social media, even though it's a good tool, you know, like, it's a lot of positive when it comes to social media, it's also a lot of negatives, because we're as a society, we starting to think that we supposed to be perfect, and that's the reason why people are afraid to be caught at the bottom. People are afraid to look like a novice. People are afraid to look like they don't know what they're doing, right? And that's one of the main things that's wrong with society right now. Like, you can't have a straight up conversation with people because everybody pretending as if they got it all together already. And I think that that's a huge problem. Like, we can't even grow because we acting like we already know everything. Like, we got to get to a point where we recognize that failure and success are hand in hand. It's cool to be cool, you know, but the coolest thing to me is authenticity. Being yourself. I'm not saying you can't enhance who you are. I'm not saying you can't grow. But man, posturing as if you got it all together all the time, man, that gets old. That gets old, and it's really the biggest disservice is for you. Is to you. You know, I know people who spend every single dime that they get on fashion, on clothes, on liabilities, just to impress other people, just to create this image as if everything is all good. And then you start asking these people, about like what they really got going on, and then you realize that their perception or their persona is it. Like, it's nothing behind the curtain. It's just like one of those cardboard cutouts where it's a cutout of a person, and the cutout, they might be dressed fly, and everything looks good, and then you walk up close and you start to realize this isn't even a real person. Like, this person got no real foundation, no backing, nothing. It just looks really good to the eyes. I think that our culture, social media, our music, hip hop. Let's talk about rap. Oh my God. I think that that's really eroding our brains, because rappers, like, you can get a new rapper guy, pop out of nowhere, one hit song, right? We hear the very first song they ever put out, and in the video of the very first song that they ever put out, the person is posing like they're already a millionaire. They already got on big jewelry and the watch and all of this stuff. And the kids see that, or even adults. Like, let's not even talk about kids. Like, we don't got grown people looking at this stuff, thinking that this is how the real world works. And those people look like everything is perfect. And they spent their whole advance, every dime that they collected from the record label, on the visuals of how they look. Because they look like success, everybody attribute the success to those people, and they didn't even do the work yet. They got one hit song. The song that we're listening to is the only song that they have. And they just putting it out. And they just putting the visual out. But we give these people credit as if they already made it, because we hear their product being promoted to us. And our society adopts that same mindset. It's like, okay, boom. Let's say you're an entrepreneur or you're a new business owner. You strike, you get your first 100,000. You feel like you won. Most people don't even get there. But let's just talk about that. Then you create this perfection image. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with image. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of those things. But at a certain point, the posturing isn't everything. Like, you have to get to the point where you're really doing the work. You have to, we got to get back to the hard stuff. Like, everybody got the cotton candy, who can do it the fastest, the easiest. Man, listen. It's hard work being successful. It ain't no jump the line when it comes to winning. And we have to do better with showing people that the diamonds, the jewelry, the bust downs, all of this stuff doesn't happen in season 1. People think season 1, episode 1, I'm an entrepreneur. I just went to go to the jeweler. No, that's not how it works. Man, it's okay to not know nothing. It's okay to be at the bottom. It's okay to, have to read books and learn how to do and, work under somebody or be mentored by somebody or be a mentee. Like, it should be like that. Like, stop posing like you got it all together, because I promise you, you'll win much faster being the real thing. And then when it's time to, flex, you could do it without it costing everything. There's nothing better than being able to, do what you want to do and not feel like you lost everything. Because, at a certain point, this is how I feel about, people who pose like they perfect. Like, I don't believe that, we can't make our own decisions. And the decisions we make will, like our life is already pre-written. I don't believe that. I think we make our own decisions. And based on those decisions, our life goes in a certain direction because of those decisions, right? So since that's the case, since we're making our own decisions, then that means, like, what you do or don't do is going to create your life. But here's the thing. Even if you make all the best decisions possible in a scenario, right? Whatever that is. I don't know. You could invest in stocks or buy some houses and the value of those houses go up, whatever the case. Eventually you're going to die. It doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter what you do. We all going to have our death day. And we also, when that day comes, will leave a legacy, whether it be, we're going to be remembered for not having our stuff together, or whether it be we did super well. It doesn't matter what the situation is. One day we all going to die. And we are going to create a legacy. That legacy is going to consist of certain amounts of money being made. I don't know what the actual number is. Like, maybe you made 100 million. Maybe you made 3 million in your lifespan. My uncle passed when I was like in 11th, not in 11th grade, I'm tripping. He actually passed a year after I graduated. Maybe 2. And before he passed, when he retired, they gave him his lifetime earnings sheet. Right? He was working this job at the airport in Atlanta for probably like 15, 20 years. And in that 15, 20 years, he earned like $1 million, which, he was proud of that. But, it's not really a hell of a lot. But it's decent. And once I heard that, I thought about it, put things in perspective. He made $1 million. That was his number. So even if you made different decisions, or your life is, we all might not get that document showing what we made in our lifetime, but that number is going to exist. If you are blowing that just to create this image on the front end, then what are you going to be known for? Oh man, he was stunning. You're not going to leave a legacy. You're just trying to create the image of looking perfect. And we got to get back to the putting in real work. We got to get back into stop trying to impress every single person that you probably don't even like. We don't even like half the people that we trying to impress. We got to get back to the nitty gritty of watching people and making sure they are who they say they are, not just because they got diamonds on. Listening to what people really talking about. Listening to what people really about. Because, the reason why, people go straight to the jeweler and straight to the car lot and straight to because, man, people not listening to the right people with the right information. They listen to the wrong people with the stuff. And then you wonder why everybody's losing the way they are. Because the new hustle is to look like somebody rather than be somebody. So stop trusting perfect people and start looking at people's character and start looking at people's behavior. Start looking at people's decision making. Start looking at people for who they really are. And then become somebody who people can look at for who you really are and think this person is valuable. That's what we got to get to. We got to get to looking at people for who they really are and not what they have. So, but don't get me wrong, I like fashion, I like jewelry, I like all the stuff. I'm not knocking the stuff. It's not about disowning or putting people down who have the stuff. Getting rich, having nice things, that's wonderful. So don't misconstrue my words. I'm not saying, hey, if they got jewelry and cars, be weary. Nah. I'm saying that if you perfect and you got it all going on, you flawed somewhere. And I'm not saying I got to find them just to rock with you, but I'm going to judge you based on a real criteria. I'm not judging you just solely based on the stuff you got, because I know plenty of people with stuff that ain't worth nothing. Like the person. And they'll take advantage of 100,000 people, and everybody hate their guts, afraid to say something out loud because, oh, this person is popping, they're going to think I'm hating. I see it happen time and time again. So stop being so gullible to people who appear to be perfect, and start working on yourself so you can actually be the flawed person that you are and still be valuable enough for people to appreciate you for who you are. Because we all got flaws. It's the people who pretend they ain't got none that's getting over on everybody. And y'all falling for it every day just because y'all want to believe in this fairy tale. That success happens overnight and, oh, this dude got all this stuff. I know he can help me get it tomorrow. Ain't no shortcuts. Shortcuts were created by a player who wanted to trick a sucker out his bag. That's the truth. There ain't no such thing. And when you can accept that fact, that ain't no such thing as a shortcut, then you can start looking at things for what they are. We got to get out of this false reality of perfection and of what it really is supposed to take and what it's supposed to look like. And stop trying to pretend to be perfect ourselves just because we see that, Joe over here winning because he looked perfect. So maybe I got to just position myself to be perfect like Joe, and then maybe I can win like Joe. Maybe Joe is really about it. Is Joe really about it? If Joe's really about it, then stop trying to copy how Joe looked and start copying how Joe carry himself as a human, as a person. This person got integrity. This person's doing the right thing. So yeah, they deserve to have the stunt and the shines and all that other stuff. But you can't value that stuff more than you value the person. Because the person got the stuff. We got it all out of order. And then you got people who getting stuff who ain't worth nothing, and y'all can't tell the difference between the people who really doing it and the people who just playing. Come on, y'all. Tighten up.